Yeah, buddy, it is time to count down the top 10 most submitted books into CBCS for the month of July. This is a video that I look forward to creating every single month because I find it insightful to know what it is that people are choosing to spend their money on when it comes to getting comics graded. And I will tell you, there are two books on this list that are a surprise. One of these books hasn't been seen on a countdown list in well over a year. The other has never been seen on the countdown, and I've been doing these countdowns for about 2.5 years. I'm going to be curious as to what your thoughts are as to why these two books are showing up on the list. Without any further ado, let's get to the books. Number 10 on the list is Wolverine issue number 1, the limited series. The CBCS population report is showing a total of 1,023 direct edition copies of this comic, which happens to be the first solo Wolverine title. This comic is also the first time that the phrase, "I'm the best there is at what I do," appears in a comic. There are just 176 blue label 9.8s on the population report. Number 9 on the list is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 361. There are presently 1,320 direct edition copies of this comic on the population report, which is the first full appearance of Carnage, aka Cletus Cassidy. The 9.8 has a 30-day average price of $310, which is actually higher than the 1-year average of $290. Number 8 on the list is Uncanny X-Men issue number 266. There are 1,084 direct edition copies of Gambit's second appearance and first cover on the population report. The last sale of a CBCS 9.8 was back in March of this year, so I won't be focusing on values. I will, however, point out that I consider this book to be the second full appearance of Gambit. The first appearance in my mind is Uncanny X-Men Annual issue number 14, where Gambit can be seen throughout the issue, multiple pages, multiple panels, in uniform, and addressed by name. Number 7, Amazing Spider-Man issue number 252, the first appearance of Spider-Man's black costume, which later shows up as Venom in Amazing Spider-Man issue number 300. There are currently 327 total direct edition copies of this comic on the population report, with just 26 of them landing a 9.8. With such a small number of graded copies of 9.8s by CBCS, I am not surprised that there has not been a sale of this comic this entire year. Now, with that said, this next book is a little surprising. This is a book that I have not seen on a list of any sort in probably a year and a half, if not a little bit longer. And I'm going to be interested to hear what your thoughts are as to why this book might be showing up. The book that I'm talking about is Thor, issue number 337, the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill himself. There isn't a ton of sales data on this comic, but I will highlight that CBCS has graded a total of 571 newsstand editions of this comic and 207 direct edition copies across all labels. Number 5, Venom, Lethal Protector issue number 1. There are currently 1,737 total direct edition copies of this comic graded by CBCS, with 822 of them being a 9.8. According to Go Collect, the CBCS 9.8 has a 30-day average value of just $89. The number 4 book on the list is also a little bit of a surprise. I have never seen this book on the list. I am talking about Howard the Duck issue number 1. There appear to be just 196 total graded copies of this comic on the population report, which is the first solo title featuring Howard the Duck. There are 11 9.8s out there, but 0 sales in the last 7 years. Number 3, Secret Wars issue number 8, the origin of Spider-Man's black costume and also the second appearance of Spider-Woman Julia Carpenter. CBCS has graded a total of 1,611 copies of this gorgeous comic, including 298 9.8s. The Blue Label 9.8 has a 30-day average value of $390. The number 2 book on the list is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 365. There are 581 direct edition copies of this comic on the population report, including 95 9.8s. The book features a 5-page preview of Spider-Man 2099. The last sale of a CBCS 9.8 was back in May of this year for $189. And the number 1 book on the list is Spider-Man issue number 1 from 1990, specifically the Silver Foil Edition. There are currently 1,037 total graded copies of this comic on the population report, including 340 Blue Label 9.8s. The Blue Label has a 30-day average value of just $51. So there you have it. That is the countdown of the most submitted books into CBCS for the month of July. And as I mentioned, there were 2 surprises, and I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what you all's thoughts are down in the comment section as to why these books might be appearing. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I want to encourage you to do so. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to reach out to me for whatever reason, you can do that on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
This thing on? Mic check. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me clearly. Yeah. Should you practice art? Or should art be your practice? I had a question, so I asked it. Not to anyone specifically, but to my inner God, you know? The one that's gonna be a master. The one that's more than a rapper. The one that's an educator. The one that seeks enlightenment. He travels with concepts. He's got the mindset expansive. He understands that his time combined with travel and concepts makes his mind convex. Sort of like when you look at a brain scan. Straight off meditation, we was concaving until we had that eternal dialogue that created our dialect. Now we in distinct rooms of pure souls having them conversations. Synergy and combinations. You fly and we waiting. Indian style in the gold.